Do you hear that? There's a quiet feeling many of us are waking up to today. I'm recording this video on Friday, January the 30th. I'm not sure when it will be published, but something in the air has shifted. We felt this low range humming, right? We see this brittleness of our system, our old system cracking and crumbling around us. What we don't see yet is a clearing, what the future holds. The future feels very foggy right now. And the question that keeps coming up for me, and I haven't been able to ask it yet publicly, is what are we waiting for? It's time. We're living in a moment that no longer fits our 5 year plans and goals or our vision boards. Mm-mm. And I don't know about you and what you're feeling, but I'm sensing that what's breaking down around us and even in us is also asking something new to rise through us. What I've been reflecting on is really what the future holds and what is going to rise from the ashes. So the future isn't something we can prepare for right now, right? I mean, we could in some ways, right? But there's still a lot of unknowns. And it made me think about something that I've been learning over the years as part of the Presencing Institute community. There is a framework that we've been working within called the Theory U. And it's around prototyping in a way with ideas. When they say build the plane in the air while you're flying in the airs, I know it sounds risky, but we can't, one of the things that Theory U says is that we can't plan our way into the future, but we can sense into it. Now, how do we do this? How do we sense into something? Well, we can start by learning to listen. And I don't mean just listening to another person. I mean, learning to listen to your inner knowing, yourself, learning to listen to nature around you, learning to listen to the universe, learning to listen to your ancestors. Listen for what wants to emerge. Sense what's shifting. This is why I called my company Emergent Leaders. Because we're taking in a lot of information right now, right? A lot of it is wrecking our nervous system and it's sending us into spinouts. We can't even process it to come up with a clear, grounded position. We're just spitting things out, parroted by other people. But if we use a practice of being responsible observers of information, we can then respond in a responsible way. And there are many ways to respond. That's not from fear, it's not from scarcity, it's not from crisis or urgency, but from a groundingness, from a presence, from your values, from clarity. And this is where I believe that women leaders, especially those of us that are in that in between space, you're the ones that I've been talking to, that threshold. And particularly too, Black women, the 600,000 of them or more that are currently unemployed. You're between those roles that defined you for so long. You're between that version of yourself, the person that you've been and the person that is becoming, right? You hold, we hold enormous power at this moment because what's coming next, it won't come from experts, the people that you're listening to. It'll come from those who know how to listen and lead at the edge. So I'm not going to be teaching you any 5-step action plan or anything like that today because I'm here to ask a deeper question. What would it look like if women came together and not just to support each other emotionally, but to reimagine and rebuild the world? What would it mean? Not just to come together because we're all trying to build businesses, but we're really trying to shift and change the world around us. What would it mean to gather in spaces where we're not just healing, but we're designing civilizations? We're practicing true sovereignty and supporting each other in upholding that. We're not performing safety anymore and we're not reacting to crises. We're midwifing emergence. This isn't fantasy. This is a feminine, instinctual, sacred movement. Because some women right now are already doing this. They're building rooms and spaces. Yeah, I've been invited into some. And some of them are really quiet, very selective. Some are very intentional. But they're for the specific purpose of let's help and support each other, rework that resume so you can get that next job and plug right back into the same system that don't want you anyway. Nothing against that. Not everybody wants to have a business, but not everybody wants to have a job either. Because then you have those rooms where it's just for those who next 6 figures, 7 figures, all of this, that specifically. They're not open to everyone and everything. They're open to those who are ready in that particular space. Again, nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about something bigger than that, beyond just that. So, I'm not going to complete this video without at least sharing some archetypes that I really see are stepping up in this moment and are needed, and that will be guiding and facilitating us through this next move. So, and you might, identify yourself in one of these archetypes. You might see yourself in the midwife of collapse. Now, she holds so much wisdom, right? She's usually in her middle life stage between 40, and 70. And she has collapsed so many times in her life that she could host a masterclass on collapsing with grace. And she's the one who stays present and grounded in the unraveling. Those women who can hold a room in the face of chaos and dysfunction and disruption, right? They've had enough practice to know. So that's the midwife of collapse. And maybe you're a Renaissance woman, right? And I talk about the Renaissance women because I am one. Multi-layered, multi-talented, multi-dimensional, can do many different things. We're gathering memories through all of this and stories and the wisdom and the voice, many different voices to rethread our world. We can connect the dots in healing and evolution because we hold it within us. Or maybe you are a conscious architect. You're strategic, Everything is led by your values, and you are probably even already blueprinting something new. You operate like a visionary, but not from the clouds, from a more micro lens, from the ground. And you make the foundation and the base for what's being built, you make sure that it's strong and that it'll hold up for years to come. And then there's the dangerous woman that you've heard me talk about time and time again, really at the forefront of this. Not dangerous because they're harmful, but dangerous because they refuse to perform the old script. They're not playing by the old rules anymore. They're here to make some new ones. They will not falter, they will not shrink or disappear at this time. These are not metaphors, these are real energies asking to be embodied right now. So, if we can't prepare for the future in the old way, let me ask you this: what kind of world could we build if women just came together now before it's too late, before they take away all our rights? What kind of world could we build if women came together now before it's too late? And I've been thinking about this, so let me paint you a picture. I want you to imagine communities led by women who are not scrambling to prove themselves, but they're standing in firm 10 toes down in the truth of who they are. I want you to imagine a world where children are raised not to survive systems, but to co create something that's wiser than what we've ever known, where curiosity and creativity, they're not punished. Young men are taught to embrace their feminine qualities, and young girls are taught to balance their masculine. Imagine economy shaped by generosity and reciprocity, and where wealth is not used to fortify the futures of just a few, a hoard just for a few, where power is not centralized, but it's distributed with responsibility and care. Imagine love that's not transactional, and where your partnership is not rooted in patriarchy roles or any sort of hierarchy system, but in a co visioning, co healing, co evolutionary space where conflict isn't a threat, but an invitation to deepen understanding, deepen connection, where grief does not have to be hidden. And we understand that it's a natural part of life and we honor it. And where brilliance is not exploited, but nurtured. And most importantly, imagine leadership that begins with presence, that is selfless, that understands the value of their team or their company is in the people. Now ask yourself, who do you want to be in that world? And who do you want beside you while you're building it? I've been thinking a lot about this, and I will be sharing more over the next few weeks about what has come up for me and what I'm sensing. So let me just close with this right now. The warning shots were fired a long time ago. We heard them. What we're hearing now is the clarion call. And this time we must answer it together. It's not too late for us if we start now. But the future isn't something we wait on, it's something we birth together. And what we need now isn't more noise. We need leaders who are ready to step in. It's more room for us right now as women to come together, I believe, and to reimagine what's possible. And this is a moment for us to anchor in what's true and to build something that the world hasn't seen yet. So, though we can't prepare like we think we can for a future, we can start building it by coming together, by listening to one another, by listening to self, by listening to nature and the universe and the ancestors. And if you're listening to this, it's probably because you are one of the archetypes. So I want you to drop a comment below and share with me what you're sensing right now and what you're ready to midwife or have been midwifing. We don't need to ask for permission anymore. Let's start building the future right now and together. So until next time, this is the work of remembering who you are before the world told you who to be. I'll see you next time.